Reba here, welcome back to Gooseberry Homestead. So I figured today we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the gooseberry bushes and see how they're doing. Now I would say let's take a look at the gooseberries, but the aphids got all the gooseberries this year. But this was the very first year that my main plants actually produced any kind of fruit. And honestly, it's better if we wait at least one more year before we actually allow the fruit to completely set anyways. So it was completely all right that the aphids got the fruit this year, but I was a little bit bummed. I will admit that fact. But it's all good, and I've got a lot of really good growth now, and the aphids really aren't messing with my gooseberries as much now. So let's take a look at those. And like anybody who's been following knows that I grew these from seed, and they were from my original gooseberries. Now, this one right here is has the darkest leaves out of all of my other gooseberries.
Cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Look, we got tomatoes growing here too, Ryan. Look at that. Yeah. Do you like tomatoes? No. Hi, sweetie. All right. Can I talk to you in a moment after I'm done with my video, please?
Mom.
You can go put a Band-Aid on your chin. I don't know what happened, but he hurt his chin. All right. Don't push on it. You're making it. You're gonna make. Yeah. Go put something on it. All right. So this is how this one is looking, and we've got a lot of really good growth down here. They want you to have that goblet shape. However, there's still quite a few branches with air in between them, so I'm gonna leave this, and then it gets a little bit taller right here in the back, which is really nice. So each one of them look a little bit different. This one has a little bit lighter leaves, but these all came from the same fruit right along here. I've got 4. They all came from the same fruit, but I noticed in the spring when they were setting fruit, some of these actually had fruit that had it looked like little hairs on the gooseberries, and then I had some that developed that were the berries were smooth and they didn't have hair. So there must have been some sort of a recessive gene in the parent gooseberry from different cultivars of gooseberries in order to have berries that form that are a little bit different. But it's totally good. I love all gooseberries. So we'll see. We probably ended up with a new type of fruit kind of from the gooseberries that I grew. So it's definitely doesn't look like it's growing completely true from the parent plant, which is totally okay with me. So but some of the fruit is more smooth, and so I'm looking forward to getting the fruit from those ones, because that's how the parent plant was. The parent plant, every year the fruit that set, it was very much like a smooth berry, and it didn't have all the hairs on it. So I'm looking forward to seeing if it'll set fruit like that. So this is how this one is looking. I really like the inner growth this year. We got a lot of really straight, upright growth this year with most of my gooseberries right here. This one has a lot of upright growth. This one has a lot of upright growth, and so does this one, which I'm really, really happy for. This one, we only have one that came up in the center, and then we have these sprawling branches. Got about maybe 5 sprawling branches, maybe 4 or 5. And they will tip root if I allow them to. But I'm just going to let the plant just do its thing. I'm not going to do a ton of pruning on it, at least not this year. And then these ones I had to pull out all the leaves in the center. This is a totally different variety now. These ones were saved from store-bought gooseberry seeds, and the gooseberries were like the size of a large grape. They were massive. And so even the leaves on these look a little bit different, but the leaves last on these particular gooseberries well into November with the green leaves. So that's kind of interesting to see the differences between the different kinds of gooseberries. And one day I hope to be able to get as many different cultivars of gooseberries for my collection and to have in my gooseberry patch. So one day, you guys, I'll have all kinds of gooseberries, and I'll probably primarily buy those from a nursery so that I know exactly what cultivar I have. And I wouldn't be opposed to getting it from other people too. If anybody wants to gift me cuttings, I would love that. So, but yeah, so the ones I will primarily be buying, those ones will be from a nursery. But yeah, so, and I'd be willing to send off cuttings to other people and do trades and that sort of thing. So yeah, but these ones are looking completely different. These ones are a little bit harder for me to root. I don't know why, but these two are a little bit more difficult. And I have fewer cuttings that I've rooted from these. So yeah, so I'm happy with the two that I have. These are really nice, and I can't wait. They didn't even try to make fruit this year. Oh, I've got a green dragonfly today. I had an orange one the other day in my yard. That was really pretty. Oh, so pretty. So there's these ones here. So those are my gooseberries that I have. I do have a couple more gooseberries over by my my rose bush, and I need to get those into a little bit bigger container, but they're growing very nicely over on the other side of the yard. And then I have all my cuttings from this year that are right here. My kids set up all their tents. I think they have camping on the brain, so I let them. And so I've got some cuttings here. This is from this year's cuttings, and I'm really liking this one here that has the dark green leaves. I think that the ones with the dark green leaves, this one and this one here, there's two right here. If you can see that the leaves are considerably darker, and then there's some darker leaves on this one here too. I believe that these cuttings came from the one that has the darker leaves right there. And then I have, these ones are from the ones that I mentioned just a few minutes ago that are harder to root. So all of these ones in the round containers, those are from those ones. And so those ones are really hard for me to get to root. But they're all doing really good. And we got some new growth from the roots on these two that almost died. And then it shot up from the root area. So I was really happy to see that. And I believe the other two that are on the other side of the road other side of the yard by the rose bush, believe those ones are of this variety as well. I think. I can't remember, but they're doing really good too. And then I have these cuttings right here that I rooted. Now, I have sold some of the rooted cuttings, and I may go ahead, and I've had some worm damage or caterpillar damage on these. I went through and I was snipping them earlier, and I got off as many as I could find on the gooseberries because I completely took all the leaves off of these. But I've already done this once, and then the gooseberries flushed back out with new leaves. So I'm not completely, I'm not worried completely about it. And so I will probably end up watering them, keeping them looking nice. But it's that time of year where you can't really ship all over the United States and that sort of thing. And so I'm thinking, here's my thought process on these cuttings that I have. I do need to plant them up into bigger containers. And what I'm thinking about doing is just keeping these ones here at my house here, and just taking them with me when we move, and or selling them here locally if people are wanting. I have them listed right now on Facebook Market, and if they sell, they sell. I'm not in a rush to sell them. But what I'm thinking for the future, you guys, if you guys are interested in getting gooseberries, I'm thinking what I'm going to start doing is, as soon as fall hits, and we are having cooler temperatures and everything, and all of the leaves have fallen off of the gooseberries, I'm thinking from now on, I will just be selling cuttings. And I can send out cuttings I'm wanting to say from November until February. And I'm just going to be selling cuttings from now on, and not have them rooted. So I'll have I'll figure out a number, and then I'll send a few cuttings, and then for the purchase. And that way you guys can get your hands on them, and then you can just stick them in soil and root them yourself. You can store them. So I'll look up all the information on how to store them and how to root them, and send information and work up like a sheet of paper, work on a piece of paper, and create something with my computer that prints out onto the paper, of course, and on how to either store your cuttings until you're ready to plant them, and also or just getting them in the soil and just like letting them stay in a nice protected area over the winter. And then in the spring, when the buds start opening, then they'll set root at that point. So I will work together something, and I have plenty of time right now between now and November when I would start having sales. I will probably be taking cuttings. The majority of the cuttings are probably going to come from just these. So I won't have a ton this year. And then I'm going to go ahead and get these all planted up into containers. And I'll take cuttings from these ones as well. I'm not going to do cuttings from these ones right here because, like I said, those ones are really hard for me to get rooted. And at this moment, unless somebody specifically wants some cuttings from these ones, then I won't be doing that. But maybe in the future, I would be willing to do these. I would want to actually send more cuttings of this variety out than of this variety because these ones are so much harder to root. But it is possible, as you can see, it is possible. I just have a small handful of them. But out of I've tried to root a lot. So out of a lot of the rootings, these ones are the ones that took. So, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot. We're close to 50. And this is all I have right here. So that kind of gives you an idea. These ones are almost 100% rooting. So these ones, probably 3 cuttings. These ones, maybe 5 cuttings, I would probably say, of that variety. But I really kind of want to wait until all of my gooseberries are really setting fruit so that I can accurately say, okay, the fruit from this one has, the smooth flesh, or the fruit from this one, you'll see the berries will have like the fuzzy on it. So with time, I will be offering the different types of gooseberries as I build up my collection of gooseberries. Then I will have different types of gooseberry cuttings that I can offer. And I'm also wanting to get into a little bit of figs, not a lot, and so I've got a few figs trees coming that I'm going to keep in some smaller pots for a while until I have a homestead to put them into the ground. Like, I am homesteading right now, but I am practicing my homesteading skills. While I'm doing it in containers at this moment, in the future, all of these will have a home, except for, of course, the tomatoes. Those are like seasonal items. But all the fruit that I've grown from seed, I will have a special place for in our homestead. And I foresee that happening probably in the near future. And so I'm looking forward to that. I kind of have a feeling we're not going to be here that much longer, and we will probably be moving. And so I'm just keeping my fingers crossed for all of that. And it's just a feeling I have, and that's all. I just have a feeling, you guys. So I'll be having a few figs. I have Hardy Chicago, and then I have 3 more fig trees that are coming from Rain Tree. And I think I got some that are like more of like a honey type fig. I have one from Sicily, and a couple other varieties that are more of a honey type fig. And so I'm looking forward to having those for drying, for canning, and getting into that. And with time, as the trees grow, and then as they are more mature, I will be able to take cuttings from those. Those ones will be a few years down the road. And I will be having currants eventually that I can also do cuttings from, as well as elderberries and that sort of thing. So that's kind of the way that I'm going towards like at home, offering those kinds of cuttings, things that you can relatively root fairly easy. and just kind of focusing in that direction just from home, and putting those into like my Etsy shop and that sort of thing for people in the future. So this year, definitely be looking for some cuttings from the gooseberry. I'll be doing some cuttings from probably this one that's trying to tip root. And so I'll probably do cuttings from this one, and I can get about at least 3 groups worth of cuttings from each limb. So I'll probably be doing that this year to just shorten the length on that, and then each bush will be a little bit different. And you may get one that has gooseberries this year that may produce gooseberries that are going to be having the little hairs on them, or the ones that are like smooth textured. But it doesn't really matter. At least I don't think it doesn't really matter if they have the gooseberries with the hairs, because when you cook them and stuff like that, that stuff kind of just goes away anyways. So it's not like it's a big deal. It's just how the gooseberry looks. And so, but anyways, you guys, thanks for coming along today and listening to me chat about the gooseberries and different things that I'm wanting to do with the channel, like with the cuttings and that sort of thing. And I'll see you guys in another video, and we'll talk about something else in the garden. And you guys have a wonderful day. Comment, like, and subscribe, and click the bell button. And as always, you guys have a wonderful day, and God bless. Bye.